name to get started?
Yes, please.
Would that be good? Okay.
Okay. Dr. George Dulabon, it's spelled D-U-L-A-B-O-N. And I'm one of the trauma surgeons here at Peace Health Southwest. And,
Go ahead and current, your medical condition, how's it
okay.
going?
What happened to our patient, Joseph, was a tragic accident, but we were able to take care of him here because of the team that's been put together over the years by Dr. Riard Carmi Jones, and our trauma team now has the full complement to deal with massive injuries like Joseph's. The force vectors involved were tremendous when he was hit by the vehicle, and it led to severe head injury, as well as many orthopedic injuries that have placed him in the intensive care unit. The team here has been able to manage his injuries in such a way to stabilize him and give him a chance at recovery. Certainly we're still a long way from being out of the woods with these injuries. Certainly the team includes myself, my co-trauma surgeons, our physician's assistants, and the team of neurosurgery, orthopedics, nursing, radiology, ED staff. It's a combined effort, but I think we could say we've got him to a point now where at least, like I say, he has a chance. Do you have any questions regarding his status specifically? Yes, sir.
You said major critical condition. You said head injuries and orthopedic injuries. Fractures.
The head injury is what we call brain contusions in combination with shear hemorrhage. He has received care by the neurosurgeons to help decompress the brain, and that's essentially removing a portion of the skull to allow the brain to decompress beyond the confines of the skull to prevent secondary injury of increased intracranial pressure. Orthopedic injuries include open fractures of his arm, leg, and tremendously bad fractures of his pelvis, which was the source of his massive bleeding. And that's what really took time to really control that hemorrhage in the first night, trying to get access so that we could stop the bleeding through what we call interventional radiology methods, which allow us to stop the bleeding from inside the artery, with an embolization procedure. In the past, fractures like this of the pelvis prior to the days of trauma centers were almost uniformly fatal because these are blood vessels you don't have access to surgically. So that was able to stop the massive hemorrhage that was occurring from the pelvis at that time. Those fractures have been dealt with in the first phase, and he has multiple operations in order to keep those fracture sites clean, keep the bones in alignment, and operations eventually to get permanent fixation of the pelvis, arm, and leg on that left side.
What's next for Joseph's recovery?
His most important issue now is making sure that the brain function returns. We've made that possible at this point by allowing the brain to expand, like I say, beyond the confines of the skull, which allows the brain to heal. The good thing is he's 21 years old, and that's why he has a better chance than, say, an old guy like me. So the brain function in young folks has a much better chance of recovery after a major injury, and we just need time for that to happen. As the brain swelling is reduced at a later date, that skull cap will be replaced. Simultaneously, he'll be getting the fixation procedures for his orthopedic injuries. He'll remain in their intensive care unit until such a time that he's off the ventilator. That's not going to happen until we get to that point where he's done with the major surgical procedures.
Aaron, would you like to?
I do. I have a statement prepared. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Of course, my name is Aaron Hahn. I'm Joseph Riley's cousin, and I'm joined here by my family and Joseph's mom, Tarina. I'm honored to speak on behalf of our family, but saddened to be doing so under these circumstances. Firstly, we want to express our deep appreciation to Dr. Dulabon, the physicians and staff here at Peace Health Southwest Medical Center. Their care for Joseph has been exemplary. And the kindness they've shown my family through this surreal time is unparalleled. We're grateful for their attentiveness, and are certain that Joseph is in the right hands to be taking care of his immense needs. Thank you for your work. We'd also like to acknowledge the EMTs and first responders who answered the call to this tragic event. Their meticulous and timely action in treating Joseph at the scene has given him a shot at recovery, and for that we are beyond appreciative. Joseph is one of the kindest souls you'll ever meet. He has an incredibly creative mind, a biting yet inviting sense of humor, an optimistic soul. Joseph was working full-time, striking out on his own, determined to make it. And right now, his critical condition places him at the very beginning of a long, arduous, and life-changing journey and recovery. Our family believes strongly in the power of the Holy Spirit, and we ask that you include Joseph in your prayers. We hope that God wraps his loving arms around our loved one, and that he may give strength and wisdom to the team of professionals charged with his care. In addition, Joseph's recovery will be lengthy, it will be grueling, and it will be costly. To that end, we respectfully ask for the public support and generosity in assisting our family in coping with the expenses related to his healing. We will be starting a fund directed solely to paying for the costs of his care. Details on the fund will come from me and from the communications staff here at Peace Health Southwest once it is established. And we thank you all in advance for your assistance during this trying season. And finally, we ask anyone who has concrete details about this heartbreaking event to please contact the Clark County Sheriff's Office to assist in their ongoing investigation. Joseph is fighting, hanging on, surrounded by family from all over who love him immeasurably. We know he's strong, and we will be strong for him and with him. We want to thank everyone for their kindness, their generosity, and their prayers as Joseph recovers with all of us at his side. Thank you, and I will take questions.
Could you maybe just say some kind words about who Joseph is and, you know, what kind of guy he is? And
You know, on a personal level, there aren't many relatives of mine that I grew up so closely with. I mean, just spending so many hours as kids, you know, growing up together. And Joseph and I bonded over video games very early on when video games were really cool. And I mean, just the creativity that comes from this kid, I've always envied his musical ability, his wit, just coming off with things at the top of his head, just a brilliant mind. And it's funny because I've always kind of I've envied that ability that he has to just connect with people, and he's such a good person. And you know, it's both honoring and saddening that I'm talking about him, you know, today. And you know, like I said, you know, his family and the team here are all with him, and he's going to fight on. So.
You guys, was he leaving work? Was he coming to work? Do you have any idea on what?
Any questions related to the investigation and the series of events, I would refer you to CCSO.
What was your reaction after seeing that mangled mess and seeing that Joseph was able to survive all this?
It's I wouldn't say funny, but it's odd. I looked, I'm on Twitter, and I saw a picture posted of the car from the Columbian. And my initial thought was, wow, that is a really nasty accident. I didn't know that, you know, I had a family member involved. And then after finding out that it was Joseph, I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, people know how it is. It's shocking. You don't believe that it's real at first. It's, you know, it's stunning. And, you know, now that we're, you know, coming to grips with, you know, what happened, now our focus, you know, as a family is Joseph's care and his recovery and being there for him.
Is there something you think the public should know about Joseph that you don't think is?
Oh, I think I mentioned it. I mean, he's a kid that is, you know, he's just starting out on his own. He has this job that he really liked. He's, you know, striking out to make it. He's, you know, pursuing all of, you know, various creative ventures, you know, being really artistic and very musical. And, you know, it's a shame that he's in this position right now, and we as a family want him to recover and get back to, you know, get back to his life and get back to being who he is, which is this nice, optimistic, brilliant guy.
do you know his kind of word? Do you want to become a professional musician maybe, or?
I can't answer that specifically. I wish I could, but I won't speculate on that.
Grew up here in Vancouver, though? Was that-
Grew up in actually grew up with me more or less in Morton,
Morton.
Morton,
Okay.
Washington, and then moved to Arizona and came back here. How many years ago?
2 years ago.
About 2 years ago.
After you graduated
Came back
high
to
school?
Washington.
Okay.
Mhm. Anything else?
Do you guys have a picture, Joseph?
I do have a picture, and I will make that available through the Peace Health communication staff. I'll get
I was gonna say, we'll email that, so before you leave me the email address that you'll wanna use, and we'll make sure that you have
and
that.
I'll send it to you, and then she'll disseminate it out to anybody who wants it.
Are there any family members that want to say anything?
Um,
To you guys, I don't know.
I will handle
Okay.
all questions.
Thank you.
Can we get the spelling of your name, Aaron?
First name Aaron, Aaron. Last name Hahn, Hahn. We worked together at KXL. I'm surprised you don't know.
Not I recognize. This is a different.
Right, it certainly is.
Thanks, Aaron.
Of course.
Did you say where he worked at?
He, according to the report, again, from Clark County Sheriff's Office, he's working at Smokies on Highway 99. Any more questions? Great.
Thank you for
I
that.
have one more for you. If Aaron was able to, I'm sorry, if Joseph was able to say anything right now, what do you think he might tell folks?
He'd probably compliment me on my suit. He'd been wearing a suit a lot lately and looking very dapper in it, I might add. It's a tough question to answer because, I'm not him and he's unable to speak, so I'm doing the best that I can to speak on behalf of him and the family. And I know that he would be beyond thrilled to see the support that he's receiving from the community right now, and the prayers that are out there and the well wishes. It means a lot to us, and I'm certain it would mean the world to him.